This week is something else a little bit more different. We're joined by A.F.C chairman Chris Stirrup, A.F.C Liverpool chairman Chris Stirrup even, and Sam Walker joins you once again. Chris, thanks very much for joining us. Just for those who aren't aware, just tell us a little bit about yourself and what your role as a chairman is.
Generally just oversee everything that goes on at the football club, really, apart from the footballing side of things. But even then, you help sort out training and kit and all that type of stuff. So non-league is a little bit different to like Premier League. Chairman generally get involved in everything and do most things along with all the other volunteers that we have.
Yeah,
so anything you think that goes on at a footy club, we pretty much do.
Yeah, I did a brief stint. I did 1 year at Bersk Football Club as their media manager there. And the chairman is pretty much a hands-on job, isn't it? You just do what's required, don't you?
Yeah, anything going from working on the turnstile, people coming in, to selling programs, to rushing out the dressing room, just whatever you can think of.
When this first broke out, the COVID-19 pandemic, what were your thoughts as both as a fan and as a chairman? Were you quite blasé about the situation of like it's one of them that might just go away and you didn't give it any second thought, or when something like this happens in the early stages, do you have to consider everything what goes on?
I think it caught everyone off guard a little bit, really. I know for us, like there was it sort of slowly crept across the world, and everyone was of the opinion that it'll be fine. It was only when countries closer to home started to do lockdowns, just suddenly thought this is coming our way now. Well, let's just see how it pans out. And then it got near to the time, and I remember just before they announced that the football was going to stop. I think we played Atletico Madrid, didn't we? I think it was about a week or so later. We had an away game, our last game actually, to Oswestry down in Shropshire, and we had a coach going. And I think a couple of days before, we started to have conversations about, because stuff was coming out about people who were in like high risk groups, trying to avoid confined spaces, social distancing and all that. So we had to suddenly start to think, well, hang on, we've got a busload of footballers here with some supporters on. Some of the supporters would be classed as being in the risk group. A couple of players might be classed as being in that. So that was the first thing we had to think about, really. So we ended up cancelling that coach, and everyone went down in the cars or the train or whatever. So, but I think it was on that Friday, and then the following Monday, over that weekend, pretty much every hour guidance was coming out that was changing from the government or from the FA, and things were changing all the time. It was very, very quick the way things come about. And then I think we played on a Saturday, and then come the Monday, football had stopped. Because even I remember, like we were working at Anfield as well. We were talking about the derby and whether the derby was going to go on, and then it was sort of, well, I think the derby will get played, and then that will probably be it. But everything's just changed so quickly. There was no time for anyone sort of to plan, because it's meant to take your lead from the government, and their attitude was all, it'll be fine, don't really need to do anything, we'll just see what happens. So football in general sort of followed that, and then all of a sudden it got really, really real, really, really quickly, and then football just had to stop.
Sam, do you think the FA, I know Chris said the government holds responsibility, and I totally agree with you, but do you think the FA can take some responsibility from this as well, of kind of saying, the Premier League stopped, so why can't we stop as well? You mentioned the shaking hands thing as well, like they stopped that in the Premier League, but we know full well there was inside Liverpool of the players shaking hands in the tunnel before they all went out, so it just seems a bit pointless to exercise one rule and then not withheld it throughout the whole process of football.
I think so. I think what's quite interesting with non-league level is the FA holds far more sort of law than it does further up the leagues, doesn't it? So when you've got all these other entities such as the Premier League, the EFL, the PFA, the FA, it's all a bit messy, isn't it? But further down, you're basically governed, aren't you, Chris, by the FA? Is that, am I right in saying that, aren't I? They are your local FA, is that right? Or your regional FA? They're the ones that make the decisions, and you basically, there's no in between. Am I right in saying that?
But the league is its own entity, so all that carries on. But in the non-league pyramid, everything boils down to like the FA. Like obviously, the fiasco at the minute is that steps 7 to 3, which is what we're 9 below the Premier League, and we're at step 6. So that they've had their leagues cancelled. Yet steps 1 and 2, which is the conference and the conference North South, they haven't decided what they're doing yet. We were just told the league was getting cancelled, there was no real consultation with us. No, whereas like at steps 1 and 2, and then the Football League and obviously Premier League, all the clubs are getting asked for their views. At our level, we were just told.
Yeah. A question I had for later on, because we're going to come on to that topic, Chris. Like, how does that make you feel? Because when I was doing the research this morning, I was like, that would just make you feel like your opinion doesn't count for anything, or you don't matter. Is that how you felt? Would that?
Yeah, it's I mean, whatever the rights and wrongs of it are, if everyone would come up with the same decision and that's what they want to do, then that's fine. But the fact that it was just a case of, and let's not forget, this wasn't like, like now, discussions are still going on now, whether leagues and null and void, points per game, or they carry on playing. This is what nearly 2 months after. We were told probably about, a week, 2 weeks later after the lockdown. Well, that's the end of that. No consultation. Our league has done an open letter to say, well, where's this coming from? There's plenty of clubs at our level and a few levels above who basically just want answers, and that's all you want, really. You don't mind if the outcome of all this is, well, okay, that's the right thing to do, then that's fair enough. But just get told, well, no, your season's over. There's no promotion, no relegation. It's wiped from the records. It didn't happen.
So there's no reason attached to that then? Well, I know we all saw the headlines, but obviously we're not privy to the information that you might have got as a club and as a chairman. Did they not give you a reason as to why it happened?
No, apparently they held negotiations with see, at step 5 and 6 and step 3 and 4, they have all the different leagues come together. They have like focus groups. Now, I think it's called the Alliance, which is all the step 3 and 4 teams. They're 3 big leagues. One was in favour of null and void, one was on the fence, and the other one wanted points per game or could be persuaded. And yet, so their decision then suddenly filtered down. Well, you've had this conversation. This is what's happening. There was no consultation with step 5 or 6 or step 7. So you've got teams like South Liverpool, us, Lowbrecht. Vauxhall Motors has even won promotion. They won their league at a canter. Now they won't get promoted because they've declared the season null and void. It's just
doesn't seem to be any logic behind it, does there, Chris?
No, there isn't. They didn't take the time or the effort. I mean, where was the rush to declare a season null and void? The steps 1 and 2 are still talking now, and I get that, like teams at the top end of the professional game, they can afford to play games behind closed doors, and players can all be tested and kept in a little bit of a bubble and all that. I get that. At our level, no, we can't do that. If you think, when you go to the changing rooms, you're going to have 15, 20 people all in that close space. So we couldn't play behind closed doors. We've got to. Our football probably won't come back now until. It'd be lucky if it was this side of Christmas by the time all the social distance and stuff disappears, because of the way things are. So we probably couldn't play behind closed doors and then resume the season. But just to say, well, right, then the season didn't happen. That's, if you think there was players who about to win medals, a footballer's career doesn't last very long. It goes very, very quickly. And, to win trophies, win leagues, that's their memories, and that's all been taken from them. Never mind the supporters who paid all the money and the people who've done all the work to get teams where they are. It's not. It's just turn around and say, well, okay, that didn't exist. We'll just start again, scrap that. And yeah, the FA keep their competitions like the FA Vars, the FA Trophy, the FA Cup. Basically, they just seem to be making the rules that suit them the best.
Now, obviously, things are changing so drastically all the time in society and, in all of our lives, not just football, but especially with football. I mean, I guess Sunday is going to be a massive sort of waiting game, isn't it? We've got to wait till Sunday to find out what Boris Johnson and his team of whatever they are have come up with this new plan.
Balance and Sam's the word.
Yeah, it is. I don't think that's strong enough, though. That's all. Okay. But we're all waiting, aren't we? And even the Premier League, the top of the shop, have said we're going to wait till Sunday to announce anything. They've already got their plan. But I wonder whether if they turn around on Sunday and say X, Y, Z, we've all had the WhatsApp message with what's going to happen and the black phases that have been sent out, which is clearly from another country, but they're likely to have something similar. And I wonder whether Sunday will map out your future. Am I right in saying that? Like, what if once he says phase 5, say, from what I've seen, the fake one, which is probably Australians or something like that, but say that's in September and that's the majority of social distancing has been lifted, apart from maybe thousands upon thousands of people entering festivals and football stadia, boxer stadia, etc. But you may qualify as under that. That will probably lead the line as to when your season starts. However, if it doesn't, and they're still saying till next January, is there any chance that they can unratify it, or is what does that mean in terms of like a solid end decision? Is there a way of going, well, actually, we made a mistake there, and given the circumstances, we will finish it because of the timing?
You'd like to think common sense would prevail, but this is the FA, so it's not going to. all that's going to happen is that they'll stick with what they've got, and if it comes about that, yeah, okay, the season can start in January, they'll try and just either condense the season, or they'll follow the example of what goes on higher up the pyramid. Now, if that's when the season starts again, if they get through playing the next 10 games behind closed doors, whatever that may be, then fine. Because then let's don't forget, the World Cup's going to be over a Christmas period. So it makes sense to align your season to allow for that. So that's probably what's going to happen. Now, whether the Premier League do that or not, I don't know. They'll finish this season, whether they condense it so we all get like a little bit of a mini World Cup over a fortnight in June and we watch all the games, or they possibly spread it out. I don't know, but I know at our level, if that's what they come out with and say, well, okay, but even then, I can't see it being until it's every bit of social distancing that's been lifted. So even if it's the same as you can't fill football stadiums, because we can't allow for the risk factor, well, you shouldn't allow for the risk factor of loads of people turning up to go and watch a game of footy. That ultimately that's the thing. Now, if that happens, if you're a football club, you've got 6 match day volunteers, what do you do?
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to want everyone wants somewhere to go. Everyone's scratching around for something to do. And the minute they say, well, okay, you can go and watch a game of footy, no one's going to care whether you support them or not. They want something to do, and that's going to be the risk. So I can't see that our footy's going to come back until they say it's fine, it's all done, it's all gone, or the vaccine comes out, whatever comes first. It'll be a risk, and I don't think anyone's got the bottle to turn around and say it'll be fine, don't worry about it, just play it.
Those volunteers are your responsibility, and as are the players and the coaching staff, and all like. And
then ultimately everyone who comes in that football ground.
Yeah.
So it might be that someone that's the one time they venture out to go and watch the footy, and then they heaven forbid they catch the coronavirus. That's going to be chances are that's because they've come to footy, and no one everyone's sort of waiting for everyone else. But at some point, someone's going to turn around and say, right, okay, if it's gone, then we play footy. If it hasn't, then we don't. Now, if that means as everyone seems to predict around Christmas time, now at non-league level, that time of the year, quite a lot of games are called off anyway because of the weather. So realistically, then it rolls into next year. And again, January, February, you probably play maybe 2-3 times a month rather than 5 or 6. Because of going to places in the weather and the snow and so on and so forth. So it may well be that the season doesn't start till next March, and then it plays through the summer, or it gets condensed a little bit more because you're playing over the good months, to slowly get back to being the normal thing, and that could take a couple of years. That.
Well, what does the future hold for A.F.C. Liverpool? I don't know all the answers to that now, and also for our viewers and listeners at home, is there any way that we sat at home can do anything to support the club through this terrible period?
The future for us is we just need to get back playing like everyone else. Our new ground's on the horizon. We've got all plans and stuff like that, but that's all obviously on hold. We can't carry on having meetings and signing stuffs and applying for all the grants and stuff that we need. I think we're due to have a members meeting. Well, our AGM is another thing. We can't have that because obviously we can't all gather. But we're due to a meeting at that to rubber stamp everything and move everything on, and keep building towards our own grounds. So long term, we'll be fine. We'll be all right. If nothing changes as a football club, because hopefully the football club will be around for as long as it needs to be around, and people will always come and watch and come and support, and we'll have volunteers to do stuff. So that's like for most of the clubs. We'll carry on in some way, shape or form. Nothing's going to change. We will go back into being North West Counties. We've applied to be in next season's FA Cup and so on and so forth, whenever that is. we just got to bide our time and hopefully just crack on when the time comes. All people can do to support us, if they want to support us financially, then great. As I say, we're a non-for-profit organisation. One member, one vote, so people can just become members. We can do that on our website. It's £12 a year. Whenever our AGM comes around, you're entitled to come to it and have a vote. You kept in the loop. We have discounts on like kit and stuff like that. Knock a bit off. So it helps that we try to engage with people as best we can, and they can have an involvement in the football club and then get to own a bit of the football club and share in that glory for us. It's one of them. If people are interested and want to be involved, and chuck a little couple of quid in, 12 to 12 quid a year, that all helps. No one takes a wage from it. It all helps grow the football club, and that's why we set up as a non-for-profit. Because then it stays in the football club. It doesn't line people's pockets. It goes into helping secure the footy, to give footy to people who haven't got it no more.